Fluent Recaps presents.
The film begins with a man taking a photograph of three people. As he prepares to take the shot, he notices something strange under Christ's feet. He thinks to the buyer that he needs help with how the man is using the camera, but the man yells at him not to move. Daniel looks down and sees Christ standing on something. He quickly wipes the dirt off around his feet, and everyone realizes he has stepped on a landmine. He starts crying hysterically to the buyer. Meanwhile, the photographer runs down the hill for his life. Chris is visibly worried and tries not to move. Daniel and Alicia try to get a signal. He goes up the hill and tries to call for help, then returns to the crisis with an angry expression and says that he was the one who planted the mine there. Picture is very confused when the receiver comes down the hill to join them. Daniel tells them that he knows the two of them are sleeping. Instead of listening to her explanation, he walks towards a tree and an orb remains after Chris dies. Chris thinks that the mine is fake because Daniel was standing next to him when he was about to take a photo before. If it was real, why would he be so close? Daniel takes out the security cable and shows them that the mine is real. Chris will be shattered if he takes his foot off the mine now and tries to talk to him, but he doesn't want to listen and is very angry. He tells them both that he thought he could trust them, then throws it on the security cable and walks away. He meets the photographer he has agreed to meet, stays with Alehis, manages to find the safety cable and tries his best to put it back in the mine, but no matter how hard he tries, he fails. Then he takes the shovel and starts digging a hole. Meanwhile, a hunter passing by with his dog sees the chaos and starts to look. Chris goes and tries to keep the dog away from Crystal, but the hunter comes with his gun and orders her to turn back. When Chris says he can't do that, the hunter shoots at her feet. She finally believes them and goes, and Marina takes an even closer look. The hunter picks up a rock and throws it at Crystal's feet. Both Chris and Alasia get angry, but they can't do anything. Psychopathic. Man tells them that he just wants to make sure that they are telling him the truth. He tells them that he lives here and has never seen a landmine. He then asks them what happened and how they got themselves into this situation. He will not help them if they don't tell him the truth. Alizia tells him what happened, and the hunter tells them that he will help them on one condition. He knows that they are desperate and he is trying to take advantage of it. He tells them that he wants the clothes that the girl is wearing and he catches her. The crisis tries to give her money, but the man is not interested in this. Finally, Ali Isa has no choice and does what the man wants Hunter. He starts to help them, but then suddenly the walkie-talkie in his bag breaks down. He hears this and asks the receiver if he can steal it to ask for help. The hunter again plays with her emotions and tells her that he has a condition. He then throws the shawl he gave her on the ground and tells her to pick it up by crawling on the ground. He gets angry with the receiver and tells him that the shawl is normal. The hunter finally hands her the radio, but the person on the other end of the radio does not speak English. Alicia has no choice but to ask the hunter for help again and asks him to take off his clothes. At first he says no, but soon he realizes that this is the only way out of the situation. Only her underwear is left on her. She tells the hunter that she can go now. The hunter packs his things and walks away. As he walks away, his radio rings again, and the shameless hunter approaches Alicia and asks her if she wants to know what he told her. He again tells her that she needs to take off one of her clothes. At this point, Chris gets angry and tells her. He starts swearing. The hunter points his gun at him and tells him to watch what he says. The Alicia takes the opportunity to run away. Then we see the hunter releasing his dog and the dog chasing him down the mountain. The man takes a rope and chases after them quickly. Chris slowly. He bends down to pick up the safety cable, tees it to his belt and manages to get the Slayer's gun. The Slayer returns with the receiver under her arm. She becomes even more aggressive and warns him to put the crystal gun down. Christ is frozen and can do nothing. The hunter takes Alicia behind the trees. Chris raises his gun and just as he is about to shoot the dog, charges at Chris and knocks him over. The gun goes off and unfortunately, instead of hitting the hunter, it hits Alicia. Surprisingly, Chris falls to the ground. The mine doesn't explode. A few weeks later, he comes to a certain house and asks the woman there for help. She kindly lets him in. Suddenly we see a man enter the house. This is the hunter's house. The hunter can't believe what he sees. and is shocked, he makes an excuse and manages to get Chris out of the house and warns Chris to stay away. When the hunter returns home, he releases his dog, and the dog goes after Kristin. He hears the dog outside and runs to go and look, and finds blood everywhere. When we return home, we see Crisis letting the dog in and telling him that he was hit by a passing car. When the hunter returns, he immediately grabs his gun and points it at him. Chris has already removed the bullets and is trying to kill the hunter. He shoots him in the leg and then tells the mother and daughter to take him inside. Crisis orders the girl to tie his mother up. The hunter is devastated, and the church begs him to stop telling him that he was drunk and not in his right mind. When he attacked his regiment, Chris buys a bottle of wine and drinks it. Mother and he makes her drink some and pours some on the hunter's lap, then takes off his daughter's shawl and drags her on the floor, just like the hunter did to Alicia. Then puts the shawl in the hunter's mouth and plays mind games with the family, while the mother and daughter fear for their lives. Chris revenge. We see him put a bullet in the gun and tell the girl that every time the gun fires, she will take off a piece of clothing. The hunter falls to the ground and begs for forgiveness, but the crisis is just beginning. When Chris fires the gun, 3 times the gun goes off and finishes her off. Then she collapses in shock of what she has done. Chris just sits there and looks at the body curled up in the corner. He finally gets his revenge, and the film ends there. If you have watched so far, you are great. If you want to see more of these types of film summaries, press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.